She picked up the call and started shaking. Then she whispered something that made the CEO stand up immediately. "My mom, someone shot her." The restaurant went quiet in his head, not because people stopped talking, but because nothing else mattered anymore. If you're here right now, drop where you're watching from, because this story takes a turn you won't expect. And trust me, you'll want to stay till the end of this one. Now let's get back to the story. Thomas Miller didn't do spontaneous. CEO of a billion-dollar logistics company in New York. His life ran on precision schedules and control. Dates. Rare. Distractions. Eliminated. So when he asked Ava Walker out, it wasn't random. It started 3 days earlier. A small grocery store, late evening, rain tapping softly against the glass. Thomas had gone in for one thing, black coffee beans. He walked out noticing her, not because she tried to be noticed, but because she didn't. Ava stood near the fruit aisle, quietly comparing prices, her hair slightly damp from the rain. Wearing a simple gray sweater like she didn't care who saw her. No makeup trying too hard, no performance. Just real. And Thomas, a man who had seen thousands of polished, calculated faces, paused. She didn't look up, didn't notice him, didn't care. That was the first anomaly. The second. He came back the next day, for no reason, and she was there again. Same time, same quiet energy. That was when he made a decision he didn't fully understand. "Dinner," he said simply when he approached her. She looked up, surprised, but not impressed. "Are you always this direct?" she asked. "Yes." Then a small smile. "Okay." And that was how Ava Walker ended up sitting across from Thomas Miller in one of the most exclusive restaurants in Manhattan. She didn't ask what he did, didn't Google him, didn't try to impress him. She just talked about her day, her work, her mom. That detail would matter later, more than either of them realized. Thomas watched her the way he analyzed high-stakes deals. Carefully, quietly, noting everything. The way she laughed without checking his reaction. The way she asked questions and actually listened, the way she wasn't trying to win him. And for the first time in a long time, he wasn't in control of the moment. Then her phone rang, she glanced at it. Her expression changed, not slightly, but completely. "Sorry. I need to take this." She stood up, stepping a few feet away. Thomas didn't move, but he watched. Because something was wrong, he could see it in the way her shoulders stiffened. The way her fingers tightened around the phone. And then, she froze, not dramatic, not loud. Just froze. Like her body forgot how to move, then her voice came out barely above a whisper. "No, no, that's not possible." Her hand started shaking. "My mom." And then, "My mom, someone shot her." Everything inside Thomas went still, not the kind of stillness that comes with calm. The kind that comes before action. Ava turned slowly. Her face had changed, the softness was gone. Replaced by something fragile and breaking. "She's in the hospital," she said, her voice cracking. "In Albany. I need to go." Thomas was already standing. "How are you getting there?" "I'll figure it out." "No," he said, firm. "You won't." She blinked, confused. "What?" "Come with me." "Thomas, I barely know." "You don't have time to think about that." That stopped her, because deep down, she knew he was right, and something about the way he said it. Not controlling, not forceful, just certain. Made her nod. 5 minutes later, they were outside. A black car pulled up, not a taxi, not Uber. Something else. She hesitated. "Who are you?" she asked quietly. Thomas opened the door. "Right now," he said. "The person getting you to your mother." She got in, because at that moment, nothing else mattered. The drive was fast. Too fast for normal standards, but Thomas didn't slow down. He made calls, short, precise. "Get me clearance at Albany General." I want updates every 10 minutes. Find out everything. Ava sat beside him, silent, processing, shaking, trying not to break. And slowly, a realization began forming in her mind. This wasn't normal. This man was not normal. You didn't have to do this, she said softly. I know. Then why are you? Thomas looked out the window, city lights flashing across his face. Because you would have done it alone, he said. And you shouldn't have to. She looked at him, really looked this time. And for the first time that night, she wasn't just seeing a man who asked her on a date, she was seeing something else. Something powerful, something dangerous. Something dependable, and she didn't know why that made her feel both safe and uneasy at the same time. The hospital lights appeared in the distance. Bright, cold, unforgiving. The car stopped. Thomas stepped out first, Ava followed. Her heart racing, her mind spinning. Her worst fear waiting behind those doors, but what she didn't know yet was that this moment, this one decision to get into his car, would change her life in ways she couldn't begin to imagine. And Thomas? He was about to step into something far more complicated than a simple act of help. Because some nights don't just change your plans. They change everything. The doctor stepped out and didn't smile. Ava's heart dropped instantly. Because in moments like this, no smile usually meant something was wrong. She's alive, the doctor said. Ava exhaled so hard her knees almost gave out. But he didn't finish. There was significant blood loss. The bullet didn't hit any vital organs, but she's not stable yet. Not stable, 2 words, enough to keep fear alive. Ava covered her mouth, trying to hold herself together. Thomas stepped forward. What does she need? He asked. The doctor looked at him, really looked this time. Noticing the suit, the posture, the presence. She's getting what she needs, he said carefully. Thomas didn't blink. I didn't ask that, he replied calmly. I asked what else she needs. A pause, the kind that shifts power in a room. Will require a specialist overnight, the doctor admitted. And monitoring we don't always have available at this hour. Now you do, Thomas said. He stepped aside, already making a call. Short. Direct, get a trauma specialist here. Albany General. Now. He hung up like it was already done. Because to him, it was. Ava stared at him, confusion, shock. And something else, relief. Thomas, she whispered. But she didn't finish the sentence. Because she didn't even know what she wanted to say. Thank you. Who are you? Why are you doing this? All of them felt too small. The next few hours passed in fragments, beeping machines. Nurses moving quickly, doctors checking charts. And Ava sitting still, holding on to hope like it could slip any second. Thomas didn't leave, not once. He stood nearby. Sometimes on calls, sometimes silent, always present. And every time Ava's breathing got shaky, he was there, not touching her, not forcing comfort. Just there. Like something steady she could lean on without asking. At 3:17 a.m., the doctor came back. This time, he smiled. She's stable. Ava broke, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. Tears falling as she sat down, her body finally letting go of the tension it had been holding for hours. Thomas watched her, and for the first time that night, he didn't feel in control of anything, not the situation, not the outcome. Not even himself, because something about her breaking hit deeper than it should have. She's asking for you, the doctor added. Ava stood immediately. Then paused, turned back to Thomas. She didn't know what to say. Again, he gave a small nod. Go. She did. The room was quiet when she entered. Machines humming softly, her mother lying still, pale but alive. Ava, her mother whispered weakly. Ava rushed to her side, taking her hand. I'm here, Mom. I'm here. Tears again, but this time, different, softer, relieved. Outside the room, Thomas stood alone, hands in his pockets, staring at nothing. Thinking about something he didn't fully understand, because this wasn't his world. Hospitals, fear, emotion, helplessness. He was used to solving problems, controlling outcomes. But this wasn't something money or power could guarantee. And that bothered him more than he expected. An hour later, Ava stepped out, her eyes red, but calmer. "She's going to be okay," she said. Thomas nodded once, "Good." Then she looked at him differently, not just with gratitude. With awareness. "You didn't tell me what you do," she said. There it was. The question he knew would come. "I run a company," he replied. "What kind of company brings specialists across cities in the middle of the night?" Thomas held her gaze. "A successful one." That almost made her smile, almost. "You don't like talking about it," she said. "It's not important right now." Another pause, and this one changed something. Because Ava realized something in that moment, he wasn't helping her to impress her. He wasn't trying to prove anything, he just showed up. And that was more powerful than anything he could have said. "Thank you," she said quietly. Thomas nodded. But inside, he knew that wasn't the end of this. Not even close, because something had already started. And neither of them had control over it anymore. 3 days later, Ava was back in New York. Her mother stable. Recovering, safe. Life, slowly returning to normal. Or at least trying to, but something felt different. Because normal didn't include thinking about a man like Thomas Miller every few hours. Didn't include replaying conversations. Or wondering why he stayed. Or why she felt something she couldn't explain. Then her phone buzzed, a message from him, simple. "Dinner. Tonight. Same place." No question mark, no pressure, just certainty. She stared at it for a long moment, then smiled slightly. Because somehow, that made perfect sense. The restaurant looked the same, but everything felt different. Because now she knew he wasn't just some man who asked her out randomly. And he knew she wasn't just someone he noticed in a grocery store. They sat down. And for a moment, neither spoke. Then Ava broke the silence. "You always this intense?" she asked. Thomas leaned back slightly. "Only when it matters." "And this matters?" He didn't answer immediately. That was new. Then, "Yes." Simple, honest. And somehow heavier than anything else he could have said. She looked at him carefully. Trying to understand something she wasn't used to feeling. Safety, but also risk. Because men like him didn't come without complications. "Thomas," she said slowly, "I don't know what this is." Neither did he, but he knew one thing. "I want to find out." Then she nodded. "Okay." And just like that, something began. Not rushed, not forced, but real. What neither of them knew was that moments like this, the quiet ones, were the most dangerous. Because this was where attachment formed, where walls dropped. Where people started to matter, and when people matter, they can be lost, and loss always finds a way back. It didn't happen all at once, that's what made it real. No sudden confessions, no dramatic turning points. Just consistency. Thomas showed up. Again, and again, and again. And Ava, without realizing it, started expecting him. 2 weeks turned into a month, dinner became routine, then walks. Then quiet evenings that didn't need conversation to feel full. Thomas adjusted things in her life without announcing it, her rent handled. Her mother's recovery. Top specialists, discreet, efficient, permanent. Her job schedule. Made easier without her ever asking how. At first, Ava noticed, then she questioned it. Then she accepted it, not because she needed it, but because she understood something important. He wasn't doing it to control her, he was doing it because that was how he cared. One evening, they stood outside her apartment. Cold air, soft silence. Thomas looked at her. Ava. She turned. I don't do things halfway, he said. I noticed, she replied lightly. I'm serious. So am I. Then. I want you in my life, he said, no performance, no rehearsed speech. Just truth. Ava held his gaze, her heart steady. Not racing, not panicking, steady. Because somewhere along the way, she had already decided. Okay, she said. And just like that, it became something real. Months passed, and for the first time in years, Thomas Miller slowed down. Not in business, not in power, but in everything that mattered. He laughed more, slept better, started leaving work early. Not because he had to, because he wanted to, because there was somewhere else he'd rather be. With her, the proposal wasn't dramatic, no crowd, no cameras. Just a quiet rooftop overlooking New York, wind brushing past them, city lights stretching endlessly below. Thomas reached into his coat. Ava didn't gasp, didn't react immediately. She just watched him, carefully, because she knew. This wasn't about the ring, this was about the man. I don't know how to do this perfectly, he said. And I don't care about perfect, she replied. That made him pause, then continue. I just know that everything in my life makes more sense with you in it. Silence, then. Marry me. Ava didn't answer right away, not because she was unsure, but because she felt the weight of it. This wasn't just love. This was choosing a life, a complicated one, a powerful one, a different one. Then she smiled, soft, certain. Yes. Everything should have been simple after that. And for a while, it was. Until one night. Ava saw something she wasn't supposed to see. It was small. A document left open on his desk. She wasn't snooping, she wasn't looking for anything. But her name caught her eye, and under it, details. Her address, her routine, her mother's hospital records. Everything, organized, precise, tracked. Her chest tightened, not from fear, from realization. Because suddenly, everything made sense, the timing, the help, the control. The precision. She closed the file slowly, and when Thomas walked in, he knew, immediately. You went through my desk, he said. Not angry, not defensive, just aware. I didn't mean to, she replied. But I saw enough. Heavy, real, you were watching me, she said. Yes. That honesty hit harder than denial ever could. For how long? Since the second day. Her breath caught, because that meant, before the first date. Before everything. Why? She asked. Thomas didn't answer immediately. Because this time, the truth wasn't simple. Because I don't leave important things to chance, he said. And I became important, that fast, she asked quietly. He stepped closer. You were different. That doesn't justify this. I know. Silence. And this time, it wasn't comfortable, it was fragile. Because this was the moment everything could break. You don't trust the world, Ava said slowly. I control what I can. And I was something to control. No, he said firmly. You were something I didn't want to lose. That stopped her, because beneath everything, that part was true. And she could feel it, but it didn't erase what she saw. You should have told me, she said. Yes. Then she asked the only question that mattered. If I say this has to stop, all of it, the control, the tracking, the silent fixing, can you do that? Thomas looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time since she met him, he didn't have an immediate answer, because this wasn't business. This wasn't strategy, this was change, real change. I can try, he said. Ava shook her head slightly. Not try, Thomas. Then. I can. That moment, that quiet, difficult moment. was more important than the proposal, because this wasn't about love anymore. This was about becoming someone worthy of it. Weeks passed, and slowly, things changed. Not perfectly, not instantly, but noticeably. Less control. More honesty, less silent decisions, more conversations. And Ava. She stayed, not because it was easy, but because she saw something most people never get to see. A powerful man. Choosing to change. Months later. Their kitchen was quiet, morning light spilling through the windows. Ava stood by the counter, holding a single white rose. Thomas walked in behind her. Smiled slightly. "You bought that yourself," he said. "Yes." "Why?" She turned, "Because I wanted to." A small moment, simple, but meaningful, because now nothing was being done for her, everything was being done with her. He stepped closer. Wrapped his arms around her, no pressure, no control, just presence. And for the first time, it felt completely balanced. Outside, New York moved like it always did. Fast, loud, unforgiving. But inside, they had something steady, something chosen, something real. Some people are born into power, some chase it, and some learn that power means nothing if you don't know how to love without controlling it. If you made it this far, subscribe to the channel, because stories like this only get deeper. And tell me, where are you watching from?